Welcome back to the channel, everybody. In this video, we're going to be reacting to how MrBeast made a Fortnite millionaire. This video is made by Ace, who makes Fortnite gameplay and Fortnite documentaries. Be sure to check them out. Be sure to like and subscribe. They made the original video. So let's get into it.
MrBeast has given away well over $70 million throughout his career.
Most
of these winners have been contestants in his videos or from giveaways he's done. And out of all these people, there's only a couple who have made over $1 million. But there's only one contestant ever who has managed to do just that despite never being in a single MrBeast video. His name is el-abd, and he's actually a professional Fortnite player. Saying that, he's very different from your average pro. During late 2019 to 2021, he started to make a name for himself after managing to qualify for every single one of the FNCS Grand Finals besides one, which is the largest tournament every season with around a $1 million prize pool. Most impressively though, he managed to place within the top 10 almost every single time, with his best being 2/3 in a second.
Literally never heard of him.
He was easily considered one of the best players in the game, but little did he know, him and millions of others would have a life-changing opportunity at the end of 2022. Before getting to that, Anas wasn't done adding a few more accomplishments to his list, and it would be in Chapter 3 where we would start getting a hint of his true talent. Most of you know this was the chapter 0 builds would be added into the game, and right away he started grinding it. And trust me, this plays an important role in what would happen later on. Now, there were a few pros at the time who were really good at both builds and 0 builds. However, none of them matched Anas. He started winning essentially every single 0 build tournament alongside Queasy and Thomas HD. In pretty much no time, he was regarded as easily one of, if not the best in this new game mode. And it wasn't only Cash Cups
Thomas HD was doing it too? In
the summer of that year, Gamers8 would host one of the first LANs in Fortnite since COVID, which is now known as the Esports World Cup. This was the first time we saw a 0 build LAN, and with his duo Pink, they'd go on to win the event, taking home $250,000. The rest of 2022 would go really well with him, being at the top of his game in pretty much everything he touches. But on December 12th, there would be an announcement that was going to change his life forever. MrBeast announced a $1 million Fortnite tournament for anybody to play. However, it was unlike any competitive event we've ever seen. Many of you probably knew this was coming, however, this actually isn't the only time he made money off of MrBeast. In fact, there is a very odd and extremely lucky way, which we'll get into later. This event was essentially a creative map which had a variety of different mini games inside of it. Players would load in to try to stay alive as long as possible in order to collect the most coins. But you also need to try to win those separate mini games so you can get even more coins, and obviously whoever gains the most points overall wins the $1 million, meaning everybody else got nothing. This all sounded simple enough, but if any of you remember playing, towards the end is where things got really hectic and at times seemed impossible to survive. I mentioned all that 0 build stuff before just to show you how good he was at adapting to things quickly. Now this is obviously much different because a lot of skills from builds transfers over to 0 builds, where the minigame creative map just doesn't. However, it's the grind that he puts in which is the common factor here. He's always been a very quiet guy who puts in the work when nobody else is looking. After the announcement of the tournament, Anas was locked in on winning. He would start playing for hours upon hours every day in order to come up with the best strategies and techniques to gain the most points. Like I said before, there were millions of others who played in this event, which meant millions of players were practicing, so it wasn't going to be easy. The day was finally here and the tournament was about to commence. With 3 hours on the clock to see who would end up with the highest score, everyone was locked in to give it their best shot. And to say it was close would be an understatement. A few hours in, the high score was set at 140,000 points, meaning in order to break the record, Anas needed to survive for at least 20 minutes, which was the cap amount of time you were allowed to live before automatically dying. And not just that, but he also needed to make sure he got more coins than his opponents. Heading into this game, you need to remember it's crucial for him to get first place in as many mini games as possible, while also trying not to lose any health, because one coin can literally make the difference between winning and losing $1 million. By the way, if you made it this far, you might as well drop a sub, it really helps me out. The first mini game was red light green light, which he was able to just barely win. Next was floor's lava. This one isn't focused on being the first to the top, but instead collecting as many coins as possible, and after following a certain route he nailed down, Anas Anos managed to collect every coin. This was an insane start, but he couldn't get too far ahead of himself because he still had a very long way to go. Afterwards, there was the shrinking ice, which was very similar to the last one, but this time he only had a few seconds to collect each coin. At this point, it seemed like his practice was paying off because again, he was getting almost every single coin. All of these so far required some skill, however, this next challenge was completely based on luck. There was a briefcase randomly put on the map and you needed to be the first to find it in order to maximize your points. With there being set spawns, he started checking as fast as possible and eventually he was able to find it first. That was the make or break for a lot of runs, so being this far in was crucial he didn't mess up. Next up was the maze, which may sound like it involved some RNG, but like I said before, he practiced so much that he knew exactly where to go, once again being the first to complete it. With only 2 challenges left, he was looking amazing. First, he nailed down the drop challenge, then finally was the falling tiles. With insanely smart strats, he made sure not to waste a single second and managed to collect a lot of coins. With all the minigames done, now he was in overtime. This is where everything on the base part of the map gets thrown at you, and Anos can't use much strategy. Instead, he has to rely on good decision making and reaction time. With only about 4 minutes left to gain over 30,000 points, it was going to be really close. At first, he was on a roll, and with his health automatically ticking down, it was important he didn't take any extra damage. But then his first mistake came when he would get hit, resulting in him losing a good chunk of health. However, he was able to lock back in and started getting into a flow state. As everything around him started to speed up, he was slowly creeping his way closer and closer to the $1 million. But now he was at a point where if he took any damage, he wouldn't have enough health to win. So in the last minute, every move was crucial, but he didn't seem phased at all. It was coming down to the final seconds, and with only a few hundred more points, he would become a millionaire. Then it happened. The game was over and Anos managed to rack in over 142,000 points, beating second place by a difference of just a few seconds.
Oh my gosh.
This was his reaction.
Let's go.
Like I said before though, this actually wasn't the only time he made a ton of money off of MrBeast. But first we need to talk about all the hate he got. With the realization he had just become a millionaire, he went to Twitter to share what happened. However, he was not ready for the amount of hate he was going to get. This is why I mentioned before that he was a really good professional player. And before the MrBeast challenge, he already had around $550,000 earned. You might be wondering why a lot of people were mad at this, and well, it's mostly because a lot of people expected just some random kid to hop on and win. Or at least somebody who financially needed it more.
That's a pro though. Mero's a pro. That doesn't make sense.
Knew he was probably putting in the most amount of time practicing out of anybody in the entire world. You can make the argument that since he was a pro, he had a lot more time than just the average player. But that's just life sometimes. That all being said, he did get tons of support, and shortly after, he would take his family on a nice little vacation.
That's pretty cool.
I keep mentioning this wasn't the only way he made money off of MrBeast. And well, this next way he did it was strange, but somehow happened. About 1.5 years after everything happened, there was a Russian content creator named Melstro who was trying to get a MrBeast follow back. So to help with this goal, he announced he would give whoever could get him in contact with MrBeast $1 million. However, Anos wasn't the one who found this out. Instead, it was another professional Fortnite player named Malibuka who is Russian himself. Some of Malibuka's friends told him about this bounty, and since him and Anos were already good friends, he said he would split the winnings with him. So long story short, Melstro would get the follow back from MrBeast, and Malibuka and Anos would get, I believe, around $500,000 each. However, I'm not sure exactly how much each of them pocketed, since I want to mention the fact that it was either just Malibuka or both of them who ended up using the money to move a couple of Malibuka's friends to Serbia in order to avoid the war in Russia going on.
That's
so
awesome.
Big props to them on that. Also, can't not mention Anos's reaction to getting $500,000 was just by tweeting this. Because of MrBeast, Anos managed to become the first player in Fortnite to earn $1 million online, sadly just barely beating out Tayson, who was almost there from actual comp events. Overall, that actually put Anos at the 5th highest earned Fortnite player ever. But probably even crazier is that in total he made $1.5 million because of MrBeast without ever being in a single video. Also do want to mention, I am aware of all this drama that's been going on with MrBeast. This video was recorded a little bit before this all happened, and also it doesn't really have that much to do with MrBeast himself except for the money. You might be wondering what he's up to now, and for the most part, nothing has changed. Saying that, he definitely stopped stopped caring about doing good in Fortnite tournaments anymore since he just hasn't placed too well since the MrBeast challenge. However, he does still compete in pretty much every tournament, just doing it for fun. That being said, he has now put a lot of time into becoming a really good ESL player. For the Esports World Cup this year, Fortnite is doing a new creative 4v4 map with different game modes, and Anas is actually one of the best players in the world at it, currently playing for Carmine Corp alongside Malibuka, Swizzy, and Mustache. So with his new endeavor, it'll be really interesting to see how well he does and what will happen to his career after. But one thing is for sure, and that's that Anas is a grinder, and whatever he puts his mind to, he'll easily accomplish it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and watch this video right here. Have an amazing rest of your days. Peace out.
If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and a subscribe, and let me know in the comments below if you like these videos. I'll keep making them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.